What's up, friends? Jonah Fox here. A student of mine recently said this: learning your scales is kind of like having to learn your multiplication tables to do math. You cannot do serious math without using multiplication tables, and you can't play serious harmonica without using your scales. He's totally right, and that's why they have been such a big focus for me on the channel. So in this series, I will be taking a deep dive into every scale on the harmonica, starting today with first position. I hope you know the basics. Scales are these series of notes that work together nicely. They're kind of like a roadmap through your instrument. You can kind of think of it, this is how you move up and down the instrument while you're playing in a certain sound. And as you learn them, you can pretty much play the harmonica in a variety of styles. I mean, sure, there are a lot of musical concepts and ideas that you can and should learn, but knowing your scales will give you the base ability to just play your harp in a variety of styles right from the jump. It'll teach you how to not only improvise, but also learn things much quicker because you know what notes are probably going to come next. Scales are really important, but you need to know how to practice them to actually get any value out of this. So check out my free Harmonica Accelerator course. The link is in the description, and it will teach you how to practice your scales among a bunch of other things, how to bend, how to improvise, all that kind of stuff, totally for free. It is great for beginners and intermediate players. There's two different versions. You can check it out. Links in the description. All right, let's focus on the easiest of the scales today, the major scale in first position. This should be the first scale that you master. And I'm saying this because all the time I see harmonica players in the comments here that say they just want to play the blues, and so they've just been playing the blues scale. And like, oh, don't do that. If that's you, you are making this so much harder than it needs to be. This scale is where you develop your chops, not the blues scale, for three different reasons. Number one, it's much easier to improvise with the major scale. You already know what this sounds like, so you don't really have to learn anything else. You just have to know where the notes fall on the harmonica. And that like easier connection between your brain and your instrument is going to make improvising so much more simple. Number two, there's a ton of simple songs to learn. We're going to talk more about that in another video, but there's a lot of basic melodies that you can pick up that are built using the major scale. And most popular songs, the vocal melody is a major scale melody. So there's a lot to learn here. And number three, the middle and the high octaves don't include bends. Compared to the blues scale, which has some really tricky bends, you don't have to do that here. And if you can bend, the low octave is full of them. So if you skipped over this, today is the day to go back and figure it out. Okay, let's go over the notes using both the note letters and the scale degrees. So really quick, scale degrees are these numbers you can just associate with notes in a scale. You start at 1 for every scale, that's your root note, and then you go up from there based around this major scale. So this is like what it's all based around, and then they change from there as you get different scales. For this scale, this is super easy. We just start on 1. That's your C. I'm on a C harmonica. And then we go up to 7 before we hit the octave again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That's it. Okay. This will matter a lot more when we're talking about more complicated scales down the road, but you can see right now that this is the framework. And then when we either take notes out or change them, that's how other scales are created. So I just want you to understand the concept now before I talk about the other scales. Note-wise on a C harmonica, it's pretty basic. We don't have any sharps or flats, so we just have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. The tabs on the screen are taken from my harp trainer program, which makes scale practice more accessible, straightforward, and fun. You can learn more about it in the video description. Also, feel free to pause this video at any time to work out these notes yourself. Let's go break this scale down by octaves. When you are learning this, you want to start in the middle octave first. There are no bends here, so it should be pretty easy. Here's what it sounds like on harmonica. Here we go. Okay, take a note of the change in air direction on hole 7. It's a little funky, but you get used to it. So that's the middle octave. That's where you should start. And if you're a beginner, just focus there for a while. After you learn the middle octave, you're going to want to try the high octave next. It's pretty much just as easy, but the B, that's scale degree 7, is on a really tricky blow bend. And if your blow bending skills are not on point, just leave it out. I'm not going to play it for today's demo. Without the B, you get this. All right, that's the high octave. Finally, let's talk about the low octave. The low octave is tough. This octave is full of tricky bends, and if you can't bend well, you should come back to this. The notes are on the screen so you can work them out. Here's a demo on my harmonica. All right, that's it. That is the major scale. To really get the hang of the scale, you should practice it with a metronome. You start slow and you speed up from there. For the low octave especially, I recommend practicing this scale with a drone track in the key of C, right? So a C major track or just a droning C note. It will help you with the tuning of your bends. Once you can play this scale, even in just the middle octave, give it a run when improvising. The best bet is to just search up a simple major backing track in the key of your harmonica. Try to pick a simple track. I'll link a few examples in the description to get you started. I'm going to do a whole separate video discussing improv using this scale soon, so watch out for that, or click up here if you are checking this video out in the future. For now though, why don't you check out my 9 harmonica improvisation tips video? You can find it up here. In this video, I go over the mindset behind improv and teach you 9 tips you can try to get better today. I also show a oil painting time lapse because I'm a painter, and it's a fun video. Not a lot of people saw it, and more should. So check it out. That's it for today. Peace.